y'all, it's your girl Deyona, and I'm here at Struck Gold, powered by Cugini Productions and New World Media.
Welcome back to another episode of Struck Gold. I'm your host, James Cugini. We have Yana Pearson here. Please introduce yourself to the fans that don't know you.
Oh, if you don't know me, you should get to know me. But I'm Deyona, Amazon bestselling author. That's pretty much me.
Okay. Where are you from?
I'm from Philly.
Philadelphia. What part
Yep, West Philly to be exact.
So, what was your first book you wrote?
The first book, The Streets Raised Me.
The Streets Raised Me. You have that here on the table here. That's the one at the top left, right there.
Yep.
Okay. So when did you first realize you wanted to be a writer?
I think I was 13. I was in school, and I had got locked up for fighting, and so I got locked up for fighting, and they made me write an essay about what I wanted to be, and I wanted to be a lawyer at first, but then I'm like, I think being a lawyer wasn't really for me. I'm not really much of a talker. Like, I like to be behind the scenes.
Okay, so that worked your way into being a writer?
Yeah, because they made me write like about what I wanted to be, like a whole essay. So it was like, okay, a little writing, I could do this. And I started reading books. And then, books don't end how you want them to, so you just switch it. So that's what I started doing.
All right. How long does it usually take you to write a book?
It depends. Like, if I'm rushing, I could do it in like a week or so. But
a whole book?
Yeah. But like, if I want to take my time, like really like go over the book, do stuff like that, like a month. I'll give myself like a month just so I could go over it, tap in with my test readers, stuff like that.
Okay. Your first book, The Streets Raised Me. How old were you when you wrote that book, and what year did you publish that book?
Okay, so originally I wrote that, I probably was like 19, and it was on it's this website called Wattpad or whatever. So like I had a lot of people, like little fans or whatever, reading it. And then it got published when I was 21. That's when like I took it down, rewrote it or whatever. So
Okay. Where do you get most of your information or ideas for your book?
Most of it come from like, just life experiences or what my friends are going through or whatever. Stuff like that.
All right. So more personal experiences.
Yeah, because more personal, you can relate to it, or somebody can relate to it. You get what I'm saying? Like, you can feel it more when it's personal, when it's real.
All right. So do you have any like methods? Like, what do you like to do while you're writing your books?
Sometimes I like to drink, like some Hennessy or something, just to like get myself relaxed or whatever. And other than that, like I could just write, like.
All right. How many books of total have you written and published since you started?
27.
27 books.
27.
So I'm guessing they're all not here?
No, they're not all not here.
Okay. Out of all the 27 books, what was your favorite book?
And why?
My favorite book, it would have to be The Streets Raised Me or Twisted. I say that because The Streets Raised Me is my first book. So, like your first anything, that's your baby. Like, that's your heart. Like, that got me to where I'm at now. Twisted because I had to challenge myself. Like, I was going through, like, losing a child and stuff like that and still having to, like, work, still provide for my other kids, so.
Facts. Okay, so what do you think makes a good story in your eyes?
I think basically like when I was saying, using like your personal life or whatever, like that would make a good story, or just like stuff that happens in like everyday situations, because just of the fact that of like relating to it or whatever, like that makes a good story. Having people like read your book and be like, oh my god, like that first page where you capture them or whatever, like that make a good story. Like something like powerful, or like a person who's like struggling and you watch them grow into something good, like whether anything, like anything good, that makes a good story to me.
What so while writing your stories, what does your families and friends think about your books? Like, do they have any I guess reviews on that?
Um, they do like in a like certain way. Like sometimes I don't think most of them read the books or whatever. They do support, but I feel like their reviews are like just like I made it. Like I did something. Like like where I come from, everybody don't make it. So that's just their like whole review on everything. Like every time I drop a book, it's like damn, another one. Like you really did it. Like you know what I'm saying. Like it's just, and it make me feel good. Like I'm going somewhere. Like a lot of people wanted me to fail. I ain't fail yet.
Okay. So what genre of book would you say you have?
Urban fiction.
I can see by some of the titles they're a little explicit. So are these
Yeah.
more for adults?
Yeah, I wouldn't let your kid read it.
Okay. What what's one of the most surprising things you learned in creating one of your books?
Oh, that's a good question. Surprising things. I think I would say surprisingly like consistency. Like I mean most people like just really learn that just like, through life. But me it was like I gotta be consistent to get where I wanna be or to continue to be this like person that I'm trying to be like and I wanna be big.
Do you have any authors that inspire you?
Yeah, Terry Woods, she's from Philly and when she first got her book she did, her little stuff on the train, like going back and forth selling books. So that's like a grind, like a hustle. Like I want to have that kind of like hustler mentality. Like you going like you get out there like no matter what. Then every author Tyler Perry, cause he like real big. Like everybody, if you writing doing any kind of thing like with that, Tyler Perry.
Okay. What would you say your work schedule is like while you're writing a book? Like, how do you, when you say you get it done in a week, do you prioritize every day, all day?
No, that just me. Ain't no sleep at night. That's it. Okay. Just no sleep.
So how does somebody get a book published? Do you do all that yourself?
No, I have a publisher, so I'm under a publishing company. I will say though, you need your first 3 chapters of a book, and it gotta be like your best story, like not no just thrown together, your best story, and then you just put it out there, get a fan base, and reach out to people.
Okay. So do you have any suggestions for people trying to become a better writer? If so, what would they be?
Plan, get consistent, get you some test readers, um, just stop saying tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow. Just start. Like, you got an idea, write it down now. Don't wait till tomorrow, because tomorrow not promised to everybody. You might not ever get a chance to write that idea down. So just do it now. Like, don't procrastinate.
All right. You said and you do book signings too, right?
Mm-hmm.
When was your latest book signing?
Well, I'm thinking about going to Atlanta on the 5th, November 5th.
Okay. So that one's coming up.
Yeah.
When was the last time you did have one?
Before COVID.
Before COVID came?
Yeah, because, they stopped everything. So it was like getting back into it. So then I was in Atlanta.
So do you hear a lot from your readers? And if you do, what kind of things do they say?
A whole lot. A whole lot. Like, it'd be crazy. Some people be like, they write me like on Facebook or Instagram and they're like, but like, I want to fight. And I be looking like, you want to fight? Like, these are characters. Like, these people are not, like, they be serious. Like, why you end the book like that? We gonna fight, like, stuff like that. Or, like, just, like, like, long comments, like, I love this book. And, just, it just be a whole lot. Whereas, though, it's, like, it make me feel, like, good as an author and, like, want to continue writing. Because they want more, like.
All right. So back to you saying you need at least three good chapters to go to a publisher or anybody of that. So at what point do you think actually makes somebody a writer instead of just somebody that's just taking it as like a hobby?
When you could tell a story, when you got a message behind it, when people come in and they want more from you, like that make you a writer. Like when you could sit there and write 60 or 50,000 words, and it's like you got to do more. like you got a message and you can continue to capture people attention and want them to keep coming back, like that makes you a writer.
Okay. Do you ever, as a writer, hit writer's block or find any days where it's like you can't get nothing out on a
Yeah,
page?
everybody hits that point.
So how do you deal with that?
When I got writer's block, I just mentally like take a break. I stop or whatever, and I stop and I just, take a moment to myself because it does happen, especially with 27 books. Like, you don't want to rewrite the same thing over again. So you stop, take a break, and, when it start coming, because it'll come back to you.
Okay. Do you ever find yourself kind of like catching like one of your new stories that are kind of sounding like your old stories, or do you think that all your stories are like diverse in them?
I do catch myself sometimes because when you got like a fan base, they kind of expect a certain kind of story from you. And sometimes it's better to stick to that. Like if you're good at it, then you stick to that and you just change it up. But right now I'm trying to come out of that to where as though I'm a better, like I'm a great author. But it's always room to get better. So I'm taking a break now to focus on writing something different cuz it's not always about like drug dealers and stuff like that. Like it's ways you could tell stories without using the same thing over and over again.
Okay. So 27 books. How many years? How long has it took you to write all these books?
So I got signed in 2015, 2022. So yeah, 7 years. 7, yeah. So I always tell people like when they ask me that like everybody asks like which one's a bestseller. So my favorite line back is we talking top 10 or top 5?
You can start do both. Do top 10.
All top of them. Works, yeah. Okay, so if I had to say top 10, all of them, because that be in the top 5 too. But um, I think majority of them reach like top 3, top 2. So it's like every book. So if you want to, what I'm saying, that speaks for itself to me.
Right. So what was your number one selling book?
The Streets Raised Me. When that first came out, that was like, it was amazing. Like because, look at me, the alarm for my
You good? You good? What were you saying again?
So like that one was like I got the support from everybody, like everybody, like from around the way, like just everybody. I mean, of course, like it started to slow down because people only want to see you doing good for so long. Right. That was just like it was pushed because it was something new.
And you said you wrote it at 19, published it at 21. Mm-hmm. So within that whole time, were you doing revisions or were you just sitting on it? And how much editing and how much of a process went into all that?
I did do like revisions. I edited, like I actually read it over and over again. Okay. Like took out, put in. One point I remember I lost like 4 or 5 chapters. And it was like right before my deadline and I was like, what am I gonna do? But again, sleepless nights. It was up all night and getting it done.
And you said most of your ideas or whatnot come from experience and all. So the main character of your book, would you guys get along?
Some of them probably not because like I'm real. Sometimes I could be like a little outspoken, especially like with my friends, and so we may.
That's a maybe. Do you feel that it's the bestseller because it's the first book, or because this is the most engaging story that people?
I feel like it was when I was the most authentic.
Okay.
It was when I was, having all this time writing. You learn like, with experience. So the writer I was then, it was like just me. Like everything was like straight to the point, straight hood, straight street. Like now I write to like I know how to write for my fans or whatever, but that's when it was like real like Deyona. That wasn't author Yana. That was like Deyona. Like it was me. These books are me as well, but I've learned how to like not be so detailed or be more detailed in certain areas.
So this genre, they're all similar. Has anybody ever really pressured you to go ahead and write something in a different genre?
No.
No.
And that's why I'm pressuring myself
Right.
to get, because it's like, okay, I've been here 27 times. I know I can make another bestseller this way. Now it's a challenge.
Because the genre I would say isn't like in majority. 'Cause I feel like majority, especially what age bracket are you shooting at? You're looking at young adults, it seems.
Yeah, but I mean, some people be coming in there and they're buying like the book for like 13, 14-year-olds. And I did start reading these kind of books when I was like 13, 14, which is why like I also try to put a message into the book. Like I'm not just going straight street or whatever you want to call it. I'm putting a message behind it. Like you actually could learn from it, or if you feeling like down that day, you see how my characters go from feeling down to going up, and then they might, go back down, but they're gonna reach a goal.
So back to the parents buying them for the younger children. Do you have to give them a disclaimer on the explicitness of the stuff, or do they just find out the hard way?
No, they find out the hard way. But I engage with, well, like the people that I see that's buying a book or whatever, or if you reach out to me, I engage with all of those people. So if I see that somebody's buying a book for a child, I'll let them know, like, hey, this is a little explicit. So,
Yeah.
but that depends on parents nowadays. Their kids need to read a book. This will be fine.
You said in your first book you were more authentic. So what do you think changed from the most recent book now?
I learned how to reach the crowds.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if that makes sense, I'm more mature as a writer, whereas though it's like my first book was just like, like when people rap, like when they first come out, it's like they just like doing whatever, and then like as they get into the game, it's like you say they're more seasoned, so that's what I learned to do.
So if your first book was made into a movie, which actors would play your characters?
Oh wow. Oh, if I want some good outside my budget. Like, what's my budget? Could it be any?
Yeah, we can go unlimited budget. It can be whoever you want.
Okay, I want Denzel Washington to play the dad. I want, this is Michael Ealy. I like him. I like gosh, there's so many good, like, I would need some Tyler Perry in there because he gonna want to work with me after he playing one of my books. Females, I like Megan Good, Lauren London. I like them because they like know how to be versatile with their acting. I need, like, it's so many people I could just pick, like Terrence Howard, Taraji. Like, I want all them kind of people, like, because they're like, they know so much. They got like so much experience to where as though they might be able to help me while I'm helping them.
What do you think that movie would be rated?
I don't know. I know it's gonna be rated R. It's gonna be rated R.
All right. So, when you're done finishing a book, how do you celebrate when you've released and finished the book?
Oh, I turn up.
Okay.
I turn up. What's that song? Me, you, and him, to see liquid. I turns up. Me or my friends, my family. We gotta go. We gotta celebrate because we did it again. It ain't just for me. It's for everybody. We all did it.
So, as a writer, what risk have you taken in your writing that has paid off so far?
I take a lot of risk. My main things be like time away from my kids, or that working extra jobs, and like I really never really have time, because it's like I'm writing, I'm at work, like, so that's the main risk for me right now. It's like my kids are growing and it's kind of like losing time. Yeah. And then when it's like I'm putting in that time with them, I'm losing time to myself. So that's what I'm risking. But I risk it all just to make sure they're good.
Okay. Now being a successful author, when was the last time you Googled yourself and what did you find?
I actually Googled myself before this. I found, so first thing comes up is my whole name. So it says like Deyona Pearson. My books, The Streets Raised Me, come up, all of these, and it's like reviews. And I'm just blessed to say, like, most of them are good reviews.
All reviews are good reviews, my opinion. So when you did say that you found it, how did that make you feel, knowing that when you search that up, you pop up out of everybody in the world?
Made me feel like a boss. Like a boss. It made me feel good. It made me feel like I almost wanted to cry, like that happy cry. Like it made me feel successful. It made me feel like I'm her. It made me feel like my kids going like they mommy just out here doing nothing.
Right. Yeah.
Like, you know.
Yeah. No. That got to feel great. So back to the stories. Have you ever killed off a character that the fans loved, and if so, how did they react to that?
All the time. I always do it. But I feel like that's the good part of like they don't expect it.
Right.
So you always want to do something they don't expect. The fans hate it. They hate it, but you just gotta bring in another character or close it out to where as though, you know, they don't necessarily forget about it, but because you're going to get some messages. I always get messages. Why you do that or whatever, but just close it up to where as though they're like, okay, he had to go or she had to go. Like this had to happen.
So you said your next event coming up will be a book signing. You said where was that at again?
In Atlanta.
In Atlanta. Where could people on social media find you or any of your product?
So on Facebook, Deyona Pearson. That's YONAPEARSON. Or on Instagram is Deyona_.
And then again, they find these. Are these strictly Amazon, or can you find these?
Kindle Unlimited. Some are in Barnes and Noble, like you know. And you can come to High Spot Pizza on 70th and Elmwood.
Okay.
I'm always there. I sign books.
Okay.
Yeah, y'all gonna want to get y'all signature now.
Get a book and a cheese stick.
So and then so you said can they make other electronic versions as well, or
they're all like Kindle.
Okay.
So Kindle Unlimited, or you know if you have Kindle.
All right. Do you have all paperbacks, or can you order hard copies as well?
You could order hard copies. I try to kind of stick to the paperbacks because just like they're easier to move around, you know, deal with.
All right. Well, if anything else you would like to tell the fans, now's your chance.
I don't know what to tell y'all, but I do know to say that like if you got a goal or something, just do it. Don't wait. Don't worry about what people think about you. Stay positive. Try to keep people off the streets. If you can help somebody, help them. It does take a village, even if it's not your village. You can make a village. That's really it. Stay blessed.
All right, guys. Thanks again for tuning in for another episode of Struck Gold. I'm your host. Until next time.